Hi, I'm Tara Raphael at Wise Womanhood Holistic Women's Health. Since 1981, I've supported women as a midwife and then an Ayurveda practitioner. I've seen that women can have comfortable and calm menstrual cycles without painkillers and hormones. Would you like to learn 3 steps to relax your cramps? Are your menstrual cramps cramping your style? Feel like you're battling your body? Do painful periods make you wish you weren't a woman sometimes? Well, menstrual calamities are rampant, and you're not alone. Statistics show it, and you know it. More serious levels of female imbalance like PCOS, fibroids, endometriosis are way too common. Do you have any of these related disorders? There are natural helps for these conditions, and we can give them the special attention they need. But why are women suffering so much from being a woman? One of the biggest reasons is women often just haven't learned what their bodies need, so they can enjoy their femaleness instead of fighting it. Is this part of your struggles with cramps? Other women know what to do but haven't gotten the support they require to make long-term changes. Birth control or pain pills, have you tried them? They're easy to get, but both have scary lists of side effects. Even if they do work, they are just a cover-up and leave the imbalance to show up later or in a more serious form. Wouldn't you rather be healed? Your body can heal only when it gets what it needs. Knowing and honoring our womanly bodies is key. Most women I've worked with over the last 30 years didn't know much about how their bodies were arranged and how they work. Because they weren't educated, they didn't know how to support their bodies to work in a smooth way without cramps. Knowledge is an important first step. How much do you know about female bodies? This mini-course is a taste of how to befriend your femaleness. Let's start with the basics. The uterus and the ovaries are the core of female cycles. Do you know that the uterus is about the size of your fist with 3 layers of muscles? It's the strongest muscle of the human body. The inner chamber is lined with tissue that secretes a lining which is shed each month as menses when pregnancy doesn't occur. The picture on the left shows a side view of a standing woman when divided down the middle. The uterus is suspended above the bladder, just about an inch above the pubic bone. The vagina is right behind the bladder and the colon behind the vagina. Notice where the white egg-like ovary is situated, above the uterus. The drawing on the right is looking down into the pelvis. The bladder is the brownish sac at the very top. Moving down the picture, we see the uterus, which is suspended in the pelvis by a sheet of tissue called the broad ligament, kind of like a trampoline. This and other ligaments usually keep it in place and allow it to grow when pregnancy does occur. But this trampoline arrangement makes the uterus vulnerable to movement that can irritate it or cut off good circulation. Another fascinating fact that most women don't know is that your uterus actually gets larger, doubling in size from the time of ovulation to just before menstruation. This explains why the uterus is vulnerable premenstrually. A heavier uterus plus that trampoline type of support plus jarring movements equals irritable or out-of-place uterus. What is a tipped uterus? When the ligaments don't hold it into the normal position, sometimes the uterus tips back, sometimes to one side. This tipping of the uterus blocks blood flow, causing poor hormonal communications, as well as starving the muscles of the uterus and the eggs and the ovaries. Tipping can happen due to trauma, like car accidents, jarring, lifting heavy objects, or other causes, especially during those vulnerable times when the uterus is heavy, menses and postpartum. Tipped uterus is a common problem. Medical doctors usually consider it a normal variation because about 30% of women have it. But maybe this tipping has something to do with their high rate of menstrual and fertility problems. Here we see the ovaries. The ovaries are important not only for making an egg, which can make a baby, they make hormones that affect your cycles. Each of the two ovaries is about the size of an almond. Have you ever seen actual photos of ovulation before? In these photos, the whitest background is the ovary itself. The yellowish globule is the ovulating egg, and the reddish swelling is the follicle out of the many which develop each cycle, producing estrogen. After ovulation, the follicle that ovulates turns white and makes progesterone, maintaining the lining of the uterus for about 10 to 14 days. When it dies, unless the egg is fertilized, then a period happens. Did you ever realize how intricate the relationship is between the ovaries, the uterus, and the hormones? The uterine lining responds to the hormones over time. First, it releases in menstruation, day 1 through 3, then begins building as the estrogen increases. Below the drawing of the uterine lining is the corresponding change taking place in the follicles of the ovary. As the follicles develop, more estrogen is produced, and one egg is ready for ovulation. After ovulation, the burst open follicle becomes the corpus luteum, creating the progesterone, which causes new changes in the endometrium and makes it friendly for a fertilized egg to plant in and develop. The uterine lining breaks down when estrogen and progesterone both fall, and good prostaglandins are produced to break the lining down to allow the menses to flow out. What are menstrual cramps? Normally, during menses, the uterine muscles contract and the lining is expelled without pain. Menstrual cramping comes when the uterus hypercontracts and when pelvic nerves become hypersensitive. So what causes these cramps? One cause is inflammation. This can come from malposition and blockage of the uterus that irritates it and builds up inflammatory factors, or an extra thick uterine lining. This comes from too much estrogen. Too many bad prostaglandins from the diet or from lack of good circulation also increase cramping and nerve sensitivity. And too much fire is when some women have lots of inflammation in their bodies, which cause the inflammation to go into their uterus as well. Another source is blockage of the flow caused by pinhole cervix, where scar tissue blocks the exit from the uterus, or malposition of the uterus, which can also keep the blood from flowing well. Fibers can block physically, or they can cause uneven contractions, and the nerve flow to the area can be blocked if there's a spinal or sacral problem. This can cause poor functioning of the muscles or irritation of the nerves, causing you to feel excess pain. Now that you know what a cramp is and what causes them, you can take these 3 steps to relax menstrual cramps. You can also download a PDF summary of these 3 steps from the video page to remind and support you in making their healthy changes. All 3 steps revolve around resting when you're releasing. Do you already rest, forced to by all the pain? I'm talking about a rest you take before calamity strikes, just as part of honoring yourself as a woman with cycles. It's a rest that happens even when calamities aren't happening anymore. Take a natural monthly time to rest, allowing yourself to release, reset, and restore your female systems, just as each night you sleep to restore your body. Why bother? Cramps are related to an imbalance around female hormones in the uterus. The period is a time of reset. Hormones are low, getting ready to start a new cycle. It's a fresh beginning, so avoiding irritations now can set up less cramping in the future. Taking it easier when the uterus is heavier just before and at the beginning of the period helps prevent irritation or misplacement of the uterus, and that prevents cramping during the current menstrual cycle. Traditional healers and common sense tell us that this is a time when energy goes into releasing what is no longer needed. Resting outer activity allows more energy to go into that reset and release. I never would have believed that resting when releasing made such a difference until I tried it myself. It really helped. I was less moody and less crampy. Even though I got less done for a couple of days, the rest of the months I had more energy than ever before, so I actually ended up getting more done in the long run. How do I rest when I release? I choose more restful, peaceful choices just before and during menses. Here are some simple suggestions on resting while releasing. Say later to whatever can wait. We all know how to procrastinate. Do it now for positive reasons during your period. And pamper yourself, period. You'll have a copy of all these ideas on the free PDF you can download after the mini-course. 2. Eat easily digested, lighter meals to let your energy go to cleansing rather than digesting, and also avoid adding bad prostaglandins that can cause more cramping. How to eat food to ease cramps? I can make more specific recommendations suited to you during an individual consultation. Some general ideas for now are: favor smaller amounts, room temperature or warmer, cooked more than raw, and avoid heavy desserts. Just a little dark chocolate might do the trick. Avoid cold foods and drinks, animal products that can increase those levels of bad prostaglandins I've mentioned before, dry foods like crackers and popcorn, and stimulants like coffee, sugar, and large amount of salt. And last but not least, number 3, let the uterus rest, including nothing in the vagina during bleeding. Don't shake your booty when your uterus is heavy. Do you do activities like snowboarding, surfing, mountain biking, gymnastics, or dancing with lots of jumping just before or during your period? These kind of movements can irritate or misplace your uterus, causing cramps. Do you use tampons? These can cause irritation to the cervix and uterus, and thus increase cramps in some women. They also confuse the downward energy key to healthy pelvic functioning. Do you have vaginal sex during your menses? This also may irritate the uterus, causing cramps in the long run. You could use clitoral orgasm if you need it to relieve the cramps. Some women find this helpful. If you don't change your unhealthy habits, you can look forward to increasing problems with your female system, or suppressing symptoms with drugs which only overload and confuse your body. I know you want to avoid menstrual disasters and have comfortable periods. Many other women have done it. It's all up to you. Don't ignore what your body is telling you. Your cramps and any other menstrual symptoms are messages that your body is sending you that your womb is out of balance. Are you listening? Do you understand what your body is trying to tell you? I can help you learn how to read your body language so that you can know what to do, and support you so that you can actually follow through and do it. If you want to get past having painful cycles dragging you down, take the next step. Because you've watched this, I know you're interested, and this is just a taste of how I can support you. Go to the next level by signing up for my free 1-hour menstrual meeting, where we can clarify your goals and vision for your monthly cycle. Identify your menstrual challenges and any hidden obstacles that sabotage your success. You'll leave the meeting feeling inspired and motivated to move forward for your next step for menstrual health. Others have done it, so can you. Like these 2 women and so many more I've worked with, you can overcome your menstrual problems when you make a commitment to work on it and do what it takes like they did. Now, to claim your free 1-hour menstrual meeting, follow these 5 steps. 1. Click the link below the video. 2. Choose an available time that works for you. 3. Enter your contact info. 4. Submit your scheduled appointment and mark your calendar. 5. Be available for my call on the day and time you signed up for. I want to serve as many people as possible, but my time is limited, so this free session offer is a first-come, first-served basis. If you want to implement the behaviors that will help you overcome cramps and have comfortable menstrual cycles, click that link below the presentation window now.